Hey, beautiful soul. Before we jump into the episode, I want to know, did you know that I have a completely free virtual new moon circle called Co-Create every single month? This stemmed out of a constant request for a space or a church that taught so many different spiritual modalities, tools, systems, beliefs, and I didn't have any place to send them. So I created it. In Co-Create, this is the space that I want to bring to you to learn how to create a connection to yourself, your energetics, and the divine in a community that won't make you feel like a weirdo. A space where you can ask any question you want, where we get to dive into so many systems and beliefs and tools, and you get to pick and choose what feels good for you. So you can learn what it means to truly co-create with the universe, God, source, for flow, trust, and surrender, to connect with other women who are spiritually curious in a space that's safe, sacred, and inspirational. It's your space for you to find your people and lean into new spiritual practices to truly co create with the universe or God or source or whoever you feel connected to. You'll gain tools and knowledge to understand what it really means to lean into the universal laws and become magnetic, all while being held by massive feminine energy. I've been hosting these free new moon circles for almost a year now, and it's definitely one of my most sacred spaces, and it's completely free for you every single month. Diana said that she made a promise to herself that she would work on her personal development and growth journey earlier in 2024. So I reached out to her and asked her for a testimonial to share with us. And what she said was Adriana's membership community and Co-Create has accelerated that and more. I have had multiple breakthroughs from finding a new career path, improving my mental health by reducing my anxiety and depression through journaling, meditation, and breath work, improving my physical health, doing walking meditations are my jam, strengthening my marriage and relationships, improving my money mindset, and just setting up a routine that complements my design. I've learned to embrace challenges as a sign of growth. I will continuously do my best to be in harmony with myself, with this world, and the universe. I have never felt so seen, heard, safe, and supported. Her community and Co-Create has helped me connect to my true authentic self, to move with grace and intention, to embrace everyone's uniqueness. And we each have a special gift and are collectively part of this world to show and share it this way. Thank you so much, Diana, for sharing all of your reflections and how Co-Create and my community has changed your life. And now I want to share it with everyone else. The link to register is in the show notes below. Even if you register for 1 month, you will automatically be signed up to be able to join every single month for as long as you're on the list. So you don't have to repeat it every month. You will always get on the list. You will always have the Zoom link available. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Now enjoy the episode. Welcome to the No BS Human Design Podcast. I'm Adriana Keefe, human design coach and motivational speaker. I went through my quarter life crisis in my 20s and had to learn how to navigate through finding what I was meant to be doing with my life. I refused to believe in the culture that said we were all meant to have the same path and boring careers until we retire and die. And along my journey, I found human design, a system that reveals your energetic blueprint, showing you where and how to access your body's consciousness and how to live as your true self. Human design changed my life, so I started sharing it with others and changing their lives, but we were all finding the same problem: a lack of resources that explain the system in easy and useful ways. So I created this show where we dive deep into the lessons of the human design system without the BS and the noise you find on the internet. Listen in for lessons in human design, finding your purpose, manifestation and spiritual practices, human design within business, and so much more. We connect with other experts in the human design and spiritual realm in a refreshingly honest way to help you find your way along your spiritual path and live this life with intention. It's time to let go of the societal expectations of being and let yourself find abundance through being uniquely you. Let's get started. Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to another episode of the No BS Human Design Podcast. Today, I am finally talking about a very highly requested topic that I, for some reason, have just never talked about on the podcast. We're talking Incarnation Cross, that big, juicy thing that everyone says has your life's purpose. So now everyone obviously wants to know what that means. So we're going to dissect that today. First and foremost, words are hard. My kids are home today, so at any point in time, I might have to pause this and then come back. We have a great snow day, and then we're going to Great Wolf Lodge later today for a couple of days. So that'll be exciting, and I will probably get interrupted. So if you see a different shift in the YouTube picture because we had to pause it and come back, that's why. And I may or may not have a child on my lap. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully the kid's wearing pants. All right, so if you want an in-depth workshop on the Incarnation Cross, that is within the Magnetic Rebellion. And my friends who are listening, who are in that community with me, first and foremost, I fucking love you and thank you for being here. And second, if you want a fresh take on it, if you want a fresh live workshop on this, let me know because I know there's always so much more juiciness when you get to do it live instead of watching a recording. So, since the recording was from last year, my friends in the Magnetic Rebellion, let me know if you want to do a fresh one, and we can absolutely do a fresh one this spring. So, with the Incarnation Cross, there are going to be brief moments in this where I share my body graph for you to be able to see. So, if you want to watch on YouTube for that visual component, I'll have that up in a little bit. Ultimately, we're going to dissect bits and pieces of what the Incarnation Cross means. I'll give you a little bit of an example using my cross, and then you can go off and start dissecting yours and your design because that's really what it is. It's no one cross is the same. Even if you have the same exact cross as someone else, literally written, it is never going to be the same because we're all completely different humans with different environments, different upbringings, different beliefs, all of that. So the biggest misconception about the cross is that I'm going to tell you what your specific purpose is here in this life. And there's this wonderful expert that I follow. She's literally an expert on the Incarnation Cross. Her name is Brynja Magnuson, and she said it best. She said it's meant to discuss the individual archetypes that can help you reveal greater themes. So it is not here to tell you, oh, you're supposed to be a nurse in the ER doing exactly this. That's not what the cross is for. It is more of an archetype of your awareness that touches the awareness of other people. So, yes, your Incarnation Cross is a description of your energetic purpose here. And what I mean by that is you don't always see it come into play because you don't have to do anything to do it, to have it, to live it. Ra Uru Hu, the original channeler of human design, said this quote that I think absolutely sums it up so perfectly. He said, one of the most difficult things about the nature of your Incarnation Cross is to recognize that you cannot live out the purpose of your cross unless you are living as yourself. And he also said, it is not a doing, it is a being. So everything I'm about to say to you, I want you to just take a deep breath and then let yourself get into contemplation mode and awareness mode, not doing mode. So don't try and seek out an immediate action that you have to do around this unless it's just like dissecting one of the gates that we'll talk about later. I want you to just explore with curiosity as you dive into your gates and allow yourself to contemplate over time. Allow yourself, your mind, to have awareness because now that you are learning this, your focus is going to be on this and you'll be able to see it being lived out in your life, whether it's in the shadow or the light, right? There's duality to everything. Duality exists for a reason. So we will dip in and out of the shadow and the light often for most of us. So it's really just about having the awareness and contemplating over time. There's nothing you need to quote, do, except for just be, live as your life, live your life as yourself. So this cross, you're going to see somewhere on your body graph. Actually, let me share my screen now so I can show you an example on mine. Okay, so on your body graph, you're going to see, there's going to say something that says Incarnation Cross. Mine says right angle cross of contagion, and then it has 4 what look like random ass numbers after it, right? Where you find this is in your personality, sun and earth, and your design, sun and earth. So there's a number on the top and the second from the top of your personality side, and then it says point another number. I want you to look at the first number, not the point number. The same with on the design side, the sun and the earth, that's the glyphs for the sun and the earth. There's two numbers. Mine is a 30 and a 29 on my design side. So these are your four most prominent gates in your body graph chart: personality, sun and earth, design, sun and earth. And this is where the Incarnation Cross name or label comes from. Now, remember, it's never going to be the same as someone else's, even though it looks exactly the same. For example, I have had clients with the quote exact same Incarnation Cross as me, and we're very different humans, but we're still ultimately here with a similar type of energetic imprint. We just show it in different ways. I hope that makes sense. So, each of the gates has a light and a shadow component to it, right? For me, for example, my personality sun gate is an 8. This is the gift of style and the shadow of mediocrity. So I can dip in and out. Of course, I can dip in and out because I'm human. And when I'm starting to feel this sense of mediocrity, averageness. Oh, I feel it. I know exactly what that feels like in my body. That's how I can tell I'm in the shadow. And I will say Gene Keys has helped a lot for this because it puts a frequency to the description of the gate. So we can link Gene Keys in the show notes. That's technically separate from human design. However, every one of the 64 gates has a frequency in the Gene Keys. So if you have an 8 in human design, go check the 8 frequency in the Gene Keys because it will be the same gate energy. And so remember, this is all about awareness and contemplation. So when I dip in and out of that mediocrity or style, I get to simply notice it. I get to, if I'm feeling that sense of mediocrity, I ask myself the ways that I need to feel like I have that gift of style. This is the rebel with a cause. This is where my rebellion comes from. I literally hate driving a car that everyone else has. Like I cannot. My car is something that you don't see very often. It's like specifically the color, right? So everything about me for some reason just has to, even the car has to not feel like a mediocre car, anything like that. So that's just some of the energy of my gate 8, which you're going to take into consideration in your incarnation cross. I hope that's making sense. So when you put all of the gates together, you're putting a lot of your information, your highest imprints together, and that forms this energy of yours that people can feel. I feel like I should back up here and explain the incarnation cross a little bit more. This is the ping I'm getting. For example, where I said you don't have to do, you are just being, right? You get on a train and you sit next to someone and spark up a conversation with them. And then you get off the train, you go about your merry life, you never see that person again. But for all you know, you just saved that person's life. Something you said, the kindness you showed, the conversation, whatever, your energy itself, you could have just saved that person's life. And these are the moments that we aren't always fortunate enough to get to see happen, but trust me, these moments happen. Think about any time where someone deeply impacted you and maybe you never even had a conversation with them. Maybe you heard them at a conference, right? This is their energy imprinting and impacting you by just simply being. So that is the purpose within the incarnation cross. So my rebellion, I actually had this wonderful question yesterday when I was on a discovery call with someone who is going to be new in my community. She asked how I actually do the act of rebellion in a safe and constructive way. And it was a really interesting question. And I feel like I should actually go back and like try and re-download what I said because that would be a really cool post for social media or even a podcast episode. But it was difficult to explain because I was like, it was just simply me being. Me being the way I want to be is an act of rebellion. because I choose to dress differently than probably all the moms in my area specifically. I have bright red ombre in my hair. I love piercings and tattoos. I love to swear. And while it doesn't feel like I'm like going out of my way to be rebellious, that is rebellion because that is against societal norms. Me feeling like I want to dress like that sensual, sexy Taurus energy that I feel that I am, that I literally am, that is acts of rebellion. And by me doing that, people evolve, people shift just by being in my presence with me holding that energy. So even within the magnetic rebellion, we're seeing people shift so deeply just by being in that container because of these pieces of my design that are imprinting on them without me even trying. It was literally me existing, me choosing the outfits for the photo shoot, for the sales page for the Magnetic Rebellion, all of that just came through what really fired me up and what lit me up and felt like true me. And that in itself is an act of rebellion. So it's not that I have to go out and seek ways to rebel, especially like a non-invasive way or something that would harm people. I just by existing, I am in rebellion. So I'm naturally going to be imprinting people around me with this. So to go a little bit deeper into understanding how you can start to dissect your incarnation cross. Mine, since it is called the cross of contagion, which I did not like at first, by the way. Some of these words in human design, just like contagion. Am I getting everyone sick? Like, what does that even mean? And it's a theme of spreading something with excitement. It has more impact on others than it does on itself. So if you were to literally Google the name of your cross, you'll find a theme. You'll find people's representations of what they think that theme is. And I want you to go deeper than that. I want you, if you really want to understand how your energy is imprinting the world, I want you to find how it shows in your life because it's so different than just the overall theme. So for me, a cross of contagion is going to, in general, take into consideration these four gates, the 8, the 14, the 30, and the 29. Now, it can be in a different order, be in a different angle of this cross, but overall have that kind of theme, just shows up in very different ways depending on where your sun and earth placements are. So for me, it combines the gate of style and individualistic voice of the 8th gate. It's in the throat center, this 8, with my desire and fantasy of the 30th gate. That's in the solar plexus. That's all about feelings, right? And the commitment of the 29th gate. This has been a very big life lesson for me. That's in the sacral. And the abundance of resources from the 14th gate. That's in my earth. So as a manifesting generator, literally what turns my sacral on is what I spread. So ultimately, if I could dumb my own cross down to like the most absolute bare minimum statement, it is continuing to do and talk about the things that get my fire in the belly going, get my sacral turned on. That's all it is. Literally, what turns on my sacral is what I spread. So when someone crosses my path, this is an energy of like be prepared to likely desire to get involved with something that I find exciting or important. That is the contagion. And I get to simply live that out by obsessing over the things that really make me excited. This is literally where the Magnetic Rebellion came from because it used to be Human Design Society. And I was like, oh, but there's so much more I want to talk about. Like I'm learning Kundalini yoga and witchcraft and astrology, right? I'm literally so many different things I want to share. And that is why I now host a community for the spiritually curious instead of just the human design curious, because so many different modalities and tools light me up. And naturally, when I post a new event that's happening, everyone's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to dive into that, right? Because they can feel my excitement about it, or they've heard me talk about it, or something like that. So I get to express it outwardly. And it doesn't feel like work at all because I'm just continuing to obsess and share on the things that I love, the things that are exciting me. I get to bring in other guests This is my line 4 coming through here. I get to collaborate and bring in other people to share on these things that are exciting me. It's literally the ultimate job for me. It is not even a job. So that's how you start to piece together your Incarnation Cross. I love listening to the Gene Keys audio versions. He has like wonderful audio contemplations. They're like $2 each. I think you even get one for free. Your design, sorry, your personality sun, I believe, is for free if you go and create your profile on there. But just contemplating the information about your top 4 gates over time and seeing how they piece together. And remember, you can be in the shadow. That happens. And allowing yourself to spread into your fullness, your authenticity, your gifts is going to be how your Incarnation Cross starts actually spreading the message it needs to spread. You need to be in the gift and in the light. And I don't say that to put pressure on you, because if you're here listening, you're already interested in how can I show up as my highest version of myself? And that's naturally going to start showing as you are allowing yourself to dig deeper into this and to create awareness and to contemplate over time. So when you're in the gifts of these, you're naturally impacting the world around you, right? For me, when I am literally just letting my sacral obsess over anything and talking about what I'm obsessed with right now, I'm naturally affecting the world in a positive way. It can be that simple, just living as your authentic self. Okay. Now, the second piece we'll dive into here would be the profile line. So if you are new to human design and you don't know where the profile lines come from, you'll see your profile and there'll be 2 numbers on your chart. Mine are 4, 6. The profile comes from these placements in the sun and earth on both the personality and the design sides of your chart. So you'll see zero point 0.4 on mine, 0.4, and then 0.6, 0.6. Now, every gate, every gift you have shows specific nuance through the profile line that it sits in. That's what all these additional profile lines down here show. However, just like in astrology, where we have our sun sign as our biggest imprint, your profile, quote, label will come from your largest profile imprints. So about 70% of the neutrino stream that we receive imprinted on our body comes from the sun. So this is the majority, and then we have the earth. So overall, I am a 4-6 energy. The profile within your sun and earth is the skills that you bring to expressing out your purpose. So for example, with my 4th line, the 4th line is known as the networker. And of course, I have total episodes on profile line too that we can link below. But the profile is the networker, the connector. So for me, I've naturally been able to grow into these gifts through leaning into my network, through growing intimate relationships, through allowing myself to naturally connect people, to really allow myself to establish that social network and intimate relationships. That's for sure, because the 4th line needs safety. And so it's not all about going out and networking and going crazy, meeting new people, because then I never feel safe in any of these relationships. So I really need solid, safe foundations in relationships and friendships to feel like I can fully express. And they help me spread this work, right? They help me spread this contagion. This is why I focus on referral partners for a lot of things. Like in the Magnetic Rebellion, you can have a referral link. Anyone you refer, you get paid. You don't even have to be in the Magnetic Rebellion to have that affiliate link. So if you want to be able to send people and get paid, let me know, shoot me an email, and I will set you up with that link. I don't mind at all if you just love the work but aren't really interested in the membership community. I love friends who share work, who help me spread this message. So I want to be able to use this 14, right? This abundance of resources to compensate you for that. So I naturally lean very heavily into my network and into people helping me spread and share this voice. And then my line 6, I'm still very actively unpacking this. Actually, I'd still say I'm very actively unpacking all of my design. I've never really stopped unpacking any of it. But my line six shows this one, these have been trickier for me. One, because they're in my unconscious, they're my design. And two, because by line six, the wisdom comes out over time, right? So I'm very actually right now going deeper into this 30. And because now that I have a general understanding of this desire feeling, I see it happen in my life and I want to go deeper on it. And goddamn 29, the shadow of half-heartedness, but the gift of commitment, these show up often. And these have felt a little rough and rocky for me. And now I'm able to start to see how I step into that role model energy with these gates, with these gifts for people. So this is how I'm expressing the purpose is through the four and the six. The line one, as a quick rundown, line ones are investigator. Line two is the known as the hermit, also known as the natural. Line three is experiential, very trial and error. Five is the heretic, also known as the fixer or the problem solver. And I already talked about four and six. So, like I said, I have whole episodes on profile, and we'll also be doing panels coming out at some point, probably in the spring, panels with other people who have different profile lines so that we can go deeper as how it expresses in your specific life or in their specific life. So keep an eye out for that. Also, panels coming out on type. So, like a manifestor panel, generator panel, reflector panel, all of that coming out, hopefully rounding that out over the spring. So ultimately, my four and my six in my Incarnation Cross are here. I'm like a brand ambassador, as Brynja Magnuson would call it. I spread knowledge as a brand ambassador of spreading sacral response. So I literally don't love this word, but I'm literally an influencer. I am an influencer for the things that light up my sacral response. And that's all I have to do. It's all I get to do, right? So yeah, it feels like you could take so much action probably from hearing all of this. But I would say if you wanted to actually do something about this information, start with your personality sun and just go deeper. Just start to journal over it over time after reading about it or hearing about it on Gene Keys or whatever, and start to contemplate it and see how it comes into play in your life. And the pieces will start to plug in over time without you having to force. So you don't have to think about, oh, how does this eighth gate show up? I just can't see it. You will literally be driving in the car or in the shower or something, and it'll click. Because as you're collecting information over time, your brain's going to start to put the pieces together. So the moment you start to feel like you're forcing, getting angry, frustrated, bitter, disappointed, right? Like any of that, take a step back and let your body go back to allowing the awareness and the contemplation. That's it. That's all we need to do. Maybe dive a little deeper if that feels sexy. Awareness and contemplation over and over again. So if you want the full 90-minute workshop, that's within the Magnetic Rebellion. And I have a feeling we're probably going to do this one again live, maybe this spring. So I'd love to hear what you took away from this. Send me a message on Instagram. And please don't forget to rate and review the podcast. That's how we get more people here. That's how we continue to spread this cross of contagion, this excitement for everything human design, and so much more. Literally healing people all over the world. I love you so much. Thank you for being here.